Hey guys, Matt Steffen here with another episode of Next Level Fishing. Today, I just want to give a quick tip about jerkbait fishing. You know, I've got a little bit of an unusual setup here. Normally, people are throwing roughly a 10-pound test with a bait caster, but I have found over the years that a spinning rod is the way to go with a jerkbait. You know, in this case, this is just a Berkeley flicker shad, but I'm fishing off the bank, so I'm using it as I would a jerkbait. But a couple of things I want to point out. First, a spinning rod will allow you to throw a lighter bait significantly further with a lot less, with a lot more ease. Let's put it that way. I mean, I can throw a jerkbait on a spinning rod roughly twice as far as I can with a bait caster, and it's easier to do. You know, when you're dealing with baits that are a 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce, you really need to get that distance, and a bait caster doesn't allow you to do that. And there goes Noah with his new Vexus. Anyway, so what I was saying was, you know, you get more distance with a spinning rod. The other thing I want to point out is I throw my jerkbaits on 6-pound test. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I very, very rarely ever break a fish off. The 6-pound test, and it's 6-pound test fluorocarbon. I throw 100% fluorocarbon. It allows me to make that super long cast, and at the same time, I can get my bait significantly deeper with 6-pound test than I could with 10-pound test. So those are two huge factors right there. Longer distance, lighter line allows you to keep your bait in the strike zone longer and allows you to get your bait down deeper into that strike zone for a longer period of time. Those are two main things that will allow you to get more bites. But when you're using 6-pound test, there's a couple of things you need to do. One, you need a reel. This is just an Abu Garcia Revo Premier. You need a reel that's got an awesome drag. You know, the spinning reels themselves don't really prohibit the distance of casting that much, but when you're dealing with 6-pound test, you know, a decent sized bait and potentially big fish, you have to have a drag that works fantastic. And I find that the Premier is a great reel. It's a great reel for jerkbaits. The other thing that I want to point out is I'm only throwing a 6.5-foot rod. This is a medium light, moderate action. So what that means is I get more of that parabolic bend down the rod. It's not a super fast tip. And there's a couple of reasons I do that. One, the light action rod allows you to load up the rod better when you make a cast, allowing you to get that extra distance. The other thing is, because I am throwing 6-pound test, I want a rod that will absorb the fish's fight significantly better than a stiff rod. With a light action, you know, a medium light rod like this, you'll find that fish is fighting the rod more than anything. So you kind of just let the fish tire themselves out. You keep pressure on them. You won't lose the hook. You know, if you're using super sharp hooks, you'll actually end up hooking the fish with more hooks than pulling hooks out during the fight. That's definitely one thing I found. You never want to horse the fish to the boat on a jerkbait, especially when you're throwing, you know, some lighter line on a lighter spinning rod. The other thing I want to point out, you know, I throw a moderate action speed so I can load the rod up to make that longer cast, but it's only a 6.5-foot rod. And I do that specifically so that I can keep my bait in the strike zone longer when I jerk. So when I jerk, I'm very rapid, you know, rapidly jerking it. But because it's a short rod, instead of pulling the bait, you know, for 2 feet at a time, I'm only pulling it like a foot at a time. And that allows me to walk the bait, dance it back and forth without actually moving it forward nearly as much. I think oftentimes people want to go with a longer rod with jerkbaits because that gets them the longer distance that they need when they're using a bait casting setup. But what you really want, in my opinion, is a shorter rod You know, that's there's a lot of other scenarios where I feel the same way. Like if you're frog fishing and you're just kind of pulling it across the mat, I prefer a shorter rod because when you twitch it, you're not moving it nearly as far, and you want to keep that bait in the strike zone. A jerkbait's the same thing. You want to make it dance in the strike zone. When you pause it, you want to keep it in that strike zone. And a longer rod, you just bring that bait in at a much faster rate. So, you know, I know a lot of people think I'm crazy right now, but I can tell you I've been doing this for years. I mean, a jerkbait is really one of my favorite presentations. I've won a ton of money on it. I catch more 5 and 6 pound smallmouths up here in the North Country on this setup. Like, you won't lose fish, you won't break fish off. You just have to make sure you've got a reel with good drag, you've got a rod that has a lot of absorption in it, and you'll end up catching those fish, and you'll get more bites. That's the thing. So guys, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. If you think I'm nuts, leave a comment, let me know. Give a like, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more tips.